When Dragon Ball Z originally concluded in January of 1996, the series was considered revolutionary in Japan, from the characters depicted, story presented, on themes introduced into the Japanese published manga, and adaptation of the said material. During the progression of Z, it became one of the first overseas depictions of anime seen or witnessed by a global audience. The scope of the Dragon Ball franchise became much more than what it was originally intended to be. But the speculative scenario is this: was Dragon Ball GT official canon? Throughout the publishing of Dragon Ball Z in the original manga, from information now known, Akira Toriyama lost a good amount of executive control with the direction in which Z progressed. He was actually unhappy with the end result of Z, and there were details that he would have changed particular details if he could. When asked about the ending to Z in the manga and depicted in the original anime adaptation, the ending to Z was one of the most controversial endings to manga or anime out of any from Japan in the mid-1990s. To have such a piece of work as Dragon Ball Z to end in such a particular way was not only angered Akira Toriyama, but a number of staff at Toei Animation. Sentiment was so bitter that plans were devised among staff at the animation studio to continue the concept of Z. A new installment was immediately implemented. The said ideas that the staff conceived of weren't exactly good, rather a basic premise from which could have been put into a better story once this series was given time to develop. Akira Toriyama might not have had executive control with Dragon Ball GT, but he did conceive of the term GT, Grand Tour, in a meaning for the characters traveling throughout the universe, and even designed the visual appearances for the characters in GT. The two monumental aspects of GT was the first theory of a level 4 Super Saiyan transformation, as at the time Akira Toriyama had level 3 to be the maximum, and Toei officials believed that a fourth level would give credibility to the series of GT. The second theory was Pan. The choice for a girl was clearly obvious due to Goku, Gohan, and Goten all being male, so the decision for a female character was actually a must, as it was planned to bring a whole new scope or dynamic to the series with a female Saiyan. When GT was released in Japan, it was received negatively by the Japanese audiences of the time, as the basic ideas of GT weren't acknowledged by the Japanese, and the series concluded just after 64 episodes. GT was considered vastly inferior to Z, and even popular opinion had it to be a disgrace to Akira Toriyama's work. Unconfirmed sources had the particular ending to GT being a said remake or reinterpretation of the ending with Dragon Ball Z. This was intentionally done as a rush to conclude the series. Sources further had it that the series be dubbed into English through Funimation, with the series conclusion during 1996 and 1997, but the opposition to GT in Japan had any broadcasting of the series in the United States halted until 2003, when it aired for the first time. By popular opinion from Japan and the United States, with casual and serious watchers, or even by Akira Toriyama himself, GT was non-canon. Nearly 20 years after the conclusion of GT, Akira Toriyama returned as main writer for an official new establishment to continue the story of Z, being Dragon Ball Super. It proved to be a massive success and reimagined the very premise of Dragon Ball, not only for a new generation but for modern manga and animation within Japan. Details of GT were reinterpreted, such as Pan and the alternate form of Super Saiyan level 4. Our sentiment of GT were that it might have been flawed, but concepts from it were worth saving and remaking. As a result, GT was canon.